YouTube, how are you now? So I've got another Modern Warfare 2 time to kill chart, this time for the select fire battle rifles and the LMGs and the semi-auto marksman rifles. So again, you got the time to kill numbers, you got the ranges here out to 75 meters. Red is the fastest time to kill in that range. Orange is within 50 milliseconds of that fastest time to kill. Yellow is within 100 milliseconds. Light green is within 150 milliseconds. Dark green is within 200 milliseconds. Light blue is within 250 milliseconds. And dark blue is within 300 milliseconds. So obviously 300 milliseconds from the fastest time to kill is not even worth considering. But we got the guns here, you got your fire rates here, you got your different damage modifiers. So you got upper torso, limbs. Some of them have 3, some of them have 2. So let's just go over the battle rifles first. So the battle rifles, ideally you want to do it semi-auto because they do less damage when you're in full auto for whatever reason. But I've been running them in full auto just because my trigger finger on mouse and keyboard's not the best, so I get more consistent kills with it on full auto. But if you want these lightning fast time to kills, it does have to be in semi-auto. So the standouts here are definitely going to be your Lockman 7.62 and your FTAC Recon. They have lightning fast TTKs if you're hitting the upper torso, so the chest. In semi-auto, 120 milliseconds, 122 milliseconds, that's a 2-tap. Basically just instant kill out to 50 meters, and then beyond that, it's 3 shots to kill, 240 milliseconds, which is still super fast. That's about assault rifle time to kill at close range. But once you start hitting the torso and the limbs, obviously it drops out to a more average time to kill around assault rifle levels. You're definitely going to get beat out by SMGs and the better ARs up close if you're hitting torso and limbs. So you definitely want to be going for that upper chest. And the FTAC Recon and the Lockman 7.62 also have a one-shot headshot potential. The FTAC Recon is within 18 meters one-shot headshot, and the Lockman 7.62 is within 20 meters. So Lockman 7.62 is probably the best. It does have quite a bit more recoil than the FTAC does, though. I was really liking the FTAC Recon just because I could actually hit those shots at mid-range, whereas the Lockman 7.62 not so much unless you kit it out with recoil attachments. So the SO14 and the TAC V, the SCAR here, these ones aren't that great. They don't have that one-shot headshot potential. The SO14 can still kill really fast to the upper chest, 140 milliseconds, so that's still really fast. That's still faster than any SMG up close, 2-tap. But it has to be the upper chest, and even in mid-range, even when you're hitting upper chest, it's pretty bad. And then if you're hitting torso and limbs, it's really bad. So not the best there. And then the TAC V is just kind of mid-tier all around, except in that mid-range if you're hitting torso and limbs, so that 15-meter range here. But overall, it's decent. So I mean, 210 is decent. That's about assault rifle levels, and then 315 at long range. That's actually pretty good. So you're going to beat out most assault rifles at long ranges. It doesn't matter where you're hitting them in the body either, except in this short window here. And then you got your LMGs here. So this is a little bit more complicated. You got the RAL here. This one has an open bolt delay of 72 milliseconds. So just looking at the pure time to kill, it's probably one of the best LMGs as long as you're hitting the upper torso. 108 milliseconds is lightning fast. But I also factored in that 72 millisecond open bolt delay here. So if you factor that into the equation, it actually makes it more mid-tier. So if you're already ADS'd, you're already starting to fire your gun. So if you know somebody's coming and you start to fire your gun for that 72 millisecond open bolt delay, you can put them down really fast. But if you're in a straight up head-to-head gunfight where you have to start firing and it adds that 72 millisecond delay, it knocks it out of that lightning fast TTK. Same goes for the Seiken MG3B. It has a 22 millisecond open bolt delay, which isn't nearly as bad, so it doesn't really change the competitiveness of it. It drops it out here from the fastest to 22 milliseconds slower, so Obviously, it's only 22 millisecond difference. Not that big of a deal, but it does change it a little bit there. So yeah, that RAL, as long as you're compensating for that open bolt delay, is really, really good. The Icarus 556 is decent up close, out to 25 meters, as long as you're hitting the upper torso. But all these guns you want to be trying for the upper torso, except for the RPK. The RPK doesn't really matter up close. It does matter at mid-range, but it doesn't affect it up close. Everything else you want to be hitting the upper torso as much as possible. Otherwise, your time to kill is going to drop pretty considerably. But they're all over the place, so I mean, it really depends on what gun you prefer. I like the Icarus. It's one of the only LMGs that I've used so far. It's decent, but I think the M4 is better all around. I've used the RAP H a little bit. It's not that great. It's about assault rifle time to kill up close, but it shoots fast, so I prefer those types of guns. But I haven't really used too many of the other LMGs to give my own personal opinion on it. But based on pure TTK, they're really all over the place. So I mean, it really depends on what you want to use them for. But ideally, you want to use the LMGs to hold angles. You want to be pre-aimed because they do have really slow handling. So aim down sight, sprint to fire, all that is really slow. And then they got really long reloads, so 6-7 seconds on average for the majority of them, because they got the giant box magazines where you have to pull the chain out and put it back in and all that kind of stuff. So they're really good at long range though. So I mean, that's generally what you want to be using them for. You just want to be holding lanes and pre-firing and just using those large magazines to just keep dumping rounds down range to get kills. But they're definitely not meant for that run and gun up close. You're going to get gunned out by pretty much every gun in the game. SMGs, ARs, battle rifles, they're all going to dump on LMGs up close unless you're holding angles. And then you got your marksman rifles here. I didn't use the bolt actions because those are either one-shot kill or you're dead basically. So these are your semi-autos. You got your EBR-14, your LMS, and then your TAC-M. So the overall standout here is going to be the LMS. It's the fastest time to kill regardless of where you're hitting them. So out to, what is this range, 50 meters? It doesn't really matter where you're hitting them, whether it's the upper chest, the stomach, or the limbs. The time to kill doesn't change, but beyond that, it starts changing depending on where you're hitting them by a considerable margin. On the EBR-14, it makes it pretty much uncompetitive if you're hitting torso and limbs beyond 50 meters. And even the LMS, if you're hitting limbs, it makes it pretty bad. And then the TAC-M, that's just atrocious. So gray is really, really, really bad. So you don't want gray. But the LMS has a one-shot headshot potential out to 48 meters, where the other two guns, the EBR and the TAC-M, have a one-shot headshot out to 64 meters. So that one-shot headshot potential is better on the other two guns, but overall, I would say the LMS is the better marksman overall. The EBR-14 starts to be at a really long range if you're hitting all upper torso. Otherwise, the LMS is better all around, and the TAC-M is just kind of average. It's not great up close. You're going to be getting beat by most other guns in the game, SMGs, ARs, battle rifles, even LMGs, unless the LMGs have to ADS and all that kind of stuff. But average overall, EBR-14 is decent, not great, but not bad either. So really depends on what you want to use it for. But yeah, at long range, you got to make sure you're hitting up your torso. Otherwise, it's just terrible. So, but yeah, those are the remaining weapons that are not bolt actions or single fire and that kind of stuff. So just helps me visualize what guns are good in what situations, what ranges, that kind of stuff. Because all this stuff is available on sim.gg, the website that has all these stats, but it's not as simple to look at like this. They have the time to kill charts, but it varies based on the different damage areas. So upper torso, you got one line, then you got to go to a different page to get the torso, you got to go to a different page to get the limbs, that kind of stuff. And then comparing multiple guns on there as well makes it kind of confusing. Whereas this makes a lot more sense to me visually. So hopefully it helps you guys out. It helps me out when I'm trying to pick different guns and how I should be using them. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.